Saint Catherine of Alexandria, Virgin, Martyr, and Model of Faith. Saint Catherine of Alexandria, Virgin and Martyr. Saint Catherine of Alexandria, one of the most beloved early Christian martyrs, is honored as a woman of deep wisdom, purity, and heroic courage. Although some details of her life come from ancient tradition, her story has inspired Christians for more than 1,700 years. Catherine was born around the late 3rd century in Alexandria, Egypt, a great city known for its library, universities, and philosophical schools. She was said to be of noble birth, blessed with extraordinary intelligence and beauty. From a young age she devoted herself to study, becoming well educated in philosophy, science, literature, and languages. According to tradition, Catherine experienced a deep interior conversion after a vision of the Blessed Virgin Mary and the child Jesus, leading her to embrace the Christian faith with her whole heart during the reign of Emperor Maxentius 306 to 312. Christians were harshly persecuted. Catherine, moved by the Holy Spirit, confronted the emperor himself, boldly questioning his cruelty and his worship of false gods. Impressed by her learning, Maxentius summoned 50 of the greatest philosophers of the empire to debate her. Catherine, relying on divine wisdom, defeated them all, and several were converted to Christianity on the spot. Enraged, the emperor ordered her imprisonment. In prison, Catherine continued to evangelize. Tradition says that the Empress Valeria Maximilla and many soldiers who visited her became Christians after witnessing her faith, courage, and serenity. All of them later suffered martyrdom. Unable to persuade her to renounce Christ, Maxentius condemned Catherine to death by the breaking wheel, a brutal torture device. Yet, as she was placed upon it, the wheel miraculously shattered. Finally, around the year 305 to 310, Catherine was beheaded, giving her life for the Lord she loved. The story says that instead of blood, milk flowed from her wounds, a sign of purity and divine favor. Catherine's relics were said to be carried by angels to Mount Sinai, where the ancient monastery of St. Catherine still stands today as a place of pilgrimage and prayer. Honored as one of the 14 holy helpers, Catherine became a patroness of philosophers, students, theologians, librarians, and young women. Her feast day is celebrated on November 25th. Through the centuries, she has been admired as a radiant example of purity, courage, intellectual brilliance, and total fidelity to Christ. Saint Catherine of Alexandria reminds the Church that wisdom flows from holiness and that true strength comes from trusting in the power of God. Here are 5 meaningful lessons we can learn from the life of Saint Catherine of Alexandria. 1. Wisdom begins with faith. Catherine was admired for her extraordinary intelligence, but her greatest wisdom came from her deep relationship with Christ. Her life teaches us that true understanding does not come only from books or knowledge, but from letting God enlighten the mind and heart. 2. Courage to stand for truth. She boldly confronted an emperor and defended the Christian faith before the most learned men of her time. Catherine's courage reminds us that truth must be spoken with clarity and love, even when it is unpopular or dangerous. 3. Purity of heart leads to strength. Her purity of body, mind, and intention gave her inner strength. Catherine shows that purity is not weakness but power, a source of freedom and spiritual authority in a world filled with confusion and compromise. 4. Evangelize through word and example. Even in prison, she converted soldiers, philosophers, and the empress by her gentleness, conviction, and peace. Catherine teaches that evangelization happens through holiness, calm witness, and steadfast trust in God, even in suffering. 5. Suffering accepted with faith bears fruit. Her willingness to endure torture and death rather than deny Christ reveals that suffering, when united with Jesus, becomes a powerful testimony. Catherine's life inspires us to carry our crosses with hope, knowing that God can bring grace out of every trial. Saint Catherine of Alexandria, pray for us.